No! Stop it. No! Getting a little flustered. The key is to keeping your head perfectly level so it does not fall off. Do you want to know what my favourite thing about making new crown videos is? I get an excuse to put on one of my old ones. As promised in my last video, today we'll be making Rapunzel's tiara, which I am so excited about. Whilst it is heavily inspired by the Disney film, much like with the dress that I made, the real world of some actual tangible historical examples of design. I did some research. I tried to find stuff from the same kind of time period and I actually really struggled. Instead, I went for more what tiaras look very aesthetically Rapunzel. And I came across this Napoleon one, which is perfect sun kind of design on it, which just screamed Rapunzel. I didn't even get as far as coming up with a design because I just sent all of these pictures that I found to Dan and then he drew a design and I was like, yes, that is perfect. That is exactly what I want. I will be trying my absolute best to recreate the design that Dan came up with for me, with the small adjustment of the placement of the three main gems. In his original design, he did it more of a full circular sun kind of thing, so they have the two angled down. I decided I wanted a little bit more resemblance to the animation version of the tiara, so I've decided to keep the placement of those main three stones the same as the animation. But that is the only change. Everything else, I will be trying my absolute best to bring this drawing to life. And let me tell you, it was not easy to find the materials for this one at all. Unlike my previous two tiaras for Rapunzel, I decided to go with a gold colour scheme, so I had to replace all of the wires that I already had. I also had to invest in some new glass stones with gold backs instead of silver. And then in terms of specific stones for the actual design, managed to find these really cute opal stones using to make the little flowers on either end of the design. In the centre of the design, there are these four main glass stones. I found this shop on Etsy that does these custom cut glass stones in all different sizes and shapes. They don't have any kind of settings, and I also kind of wanted to keep them that way because I wanted light to be able to shine through the tiara. I don't necessarily have a plan for how I'm actually going to be mounting these to the tiara. That kind of seemed like a later problem. I'm aware that last time I used a non-backed gem, I swore I'd never do it again, but here we are. Sun shape itself, I bought a sheet of metal to cut that shape out of to be able to support the glass stones onto, which again, I'm hoping won't be too difficult. I've been debating this on where is the best point to start, and I think the most logical place is with cutting out the metal plate. And I also want to spray paint this gold as well, so it matches everything else. I know it's a good starting point, but equally I don't really want to do it because I don't think I'm going to be able to draw this very well, combined with I have no idea what this metal is going to be like to try and cut out. I'm just hoping it'll be easy. Thicker than I thought it would be. I'm sure it'll be fine. Got one of my old crowns for size reference. About 7 meters tall. It's also 7 meters tall. Meters tall. Centimeters tall, it's 7 centimeters tall. I started out by drawing the design in pencil until I got a rough balance for it, and then I filled it out in marker afterwards so it'd stand out. I also placed the stones around it to make sure I got the size and the position of the sunbeams right. I then managed to capture on camera how utterly screwed I was because this metal was far too thick for me to actually cut. I even tried bending it with pliers so that I could fit the cutters further in, but that didn't even come close to working. This isn't gonna work. This is too thick to cut with wire cutters, so I need to figure out another way of cutting this. Off the top of my head, a hand saw, but the small one, I don't remember what they're called, and Dremel. I'm not that great at using the Dremel. I also don't think I've got the right fixture to cut something like this anyway. I don't know, I will figure it out and report back to you. I really need to get some kind of clamp device for when I do crap like this. The arm trying to hold it still is aching more than the arm that's actually doing the work. From this camera angle, it just looks like I'm sawing my hand off, doesn't it? I'm not, obviously. There is significant space between the two. It's gonna be shiny, it's gonna be pretty, it's gonna be worth it. Crap, I'm sawing the table.
Somebody even having an arm workout today.
I don't like it. It's really thick and I hate it. I've got no idea how I'm actually going to get the shape out for now. I'm just trying to at least get close to it.
Have you tried using the Dremel?
I didn't think we had the right setting for it. I don't really know how that thing works.
Would you like me to have a go for a bit?
Gotta try and get the shape out now. Sort into the table a little bit. Luckily, I was able to borrow my in-laws' tin snips, and whilst it was still difficult, I was able to cut out the rough shape. To get it a little bit closer to the design, I spent almost 2 hours filing it down to add the curves back in and to try and make the shape a lot smoother. Now, I am aware you're supposed to do this kind of thing outside, but it's pouring it down, so I don't really have much choice here. It's only small, it's only quick, I'll spray it and then I'll leave the room. I'm starting with a primer first because I don't trust the gold paint just to go on it. After 20 minutes, I'll be able to put the gold on. They are primed and ready for the gold coat. Once I put the gold on, I will not be able to do anything for at least 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer, because the next steps will be to start building the frame on the base and then attach the little sun star thing to the base, both of which obviously I need these pieces for, so I need them to be fully set and dry. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in those 2 hours, but I'll find something. Okay, I think that's fast. Yesterday I spray painted both of these gold. I did go away for 2 hours, bake a cake, come back, but they were still wet, so I decided just to leave them for the rest of the day so they were properly set. And today I'm going to start building the actual frame onto the base, hopefully get the sun attached, and then maybe even start wrapping on some of the chain stones. I feel like I need to make a secondary base that has a triangle shape in it to meet up to the sun, and then create some support lines to join those, and then maybe start building in some of the swirls. This feels thinner than my other wire. No, it's the same. As I've got it out, I might as well, just so I can annoy people with the wonky pearls. This isn't going fantastically. I tried to put some holes into the little sun thing so that I could thread wire through and attach it to the base a little bit easier than trying to just glue it. Technically the holes are in. I did slip with the drill a little bit, so I kind of made a scratch on the bottom, but it's only the bottom, so it's going to be hidden. The issue is more with in holding it down to keep it still to drill it. I've kind of started ruining the paint layer already. Yeah, I'm not sure how clear that is, but the surface of it has already started to be ruined. But on we march. Wire wrapping the sun to the horseshoe shapes and the second band was difficult, to say the least. It's the kind of task that requires you to morph into forearms, but alas, I didn't have my Omnitrix on me, so I was just left struggling. With the sun in place, I started working on the swirls to frame it. I decided to cover these in stones before attaching them to the rest of the structure, as that seemed like an easier way to go to me. And as always, I needed my mid-project motivation boost, so I laid out everything to visualize how it would look finished. With the swirls done, I began the lengthy process of adding the bottom row of stones to the main structure. Look at this cuteness. This is at a very exciting stage where it's starting to come together and it's going to look awesome, but equally it's a very terrifying stage where it's going to start to come together and it could look terrible. I'm hoping for the former. I'm also a little worried I might have done it a little bit high and that it might sit a little bit too tall on the head. I left off yesterday with having attached the first band of gems and having made all of my little swirls. I was going to start attaching the swirls last night, but I decided that following the sketch, I want to put some of the little flourishes on the swirls, and I'm going to do that with just some gold wire. And I was way too tired to do something that fiddly last night, so we're going to do that first thing today, and then once those flourishes are on, we are going to attach the 4 swirls to the actual frame. I am just going to use the 8mm wire, because that seems like the simplest way to go about it. I'm not going to be putting the level of detail that Dan has drawn on here for me, because it's got like a little leaf and a little flower head and stuff on it, and I don't think I can do that. We are just going to make some cute little swirls instead. I just need to figure out where I'm putting them. I began working on the flourishes with the goal of getting them finished and all the swirls attached to the tiara before lunch. Me and Dan made some plans to have a mini picnic, as it was a particularly sunny day, and for context, I left Dan downstairs getting his food ready for later. Come in. What up, Dad?
I just thought I probably didn't just ate that and I was hungry. And it's like not even lunchtime. I got to the last bite and then I was thinking, I wonder what I'm going to have for my lunch when we go out.
You plonker. I've never had a chance to use that so aptly. What do you think of the little flourishes? Try my best to add them on.
Yeah, I think they work. You add in any little stones or things to make leaves on it? Or...
I don't think so. I don't see how any way I can. It would be to actually twist wire together.
Yeah.
But then that would make it thicker, so I'd need thinner wire to do it.
Yeah.
It would be quite cool for some kind of design, because then you can just lean into like the twisty, viney element of it. But for this one, I don't really think it goes.
Do it on the elf one if you want.
Get designing for me then.
I'm happy to have a ham sandwich later.
Just gonna eat again. This is why I can't leave you unsupervised. In other exciting news today I got a comment from someone telling me that they made the Queen Victoria tiara, which is really cool, and they're going to share a picture of it with me later, which I am really looking forward to. So if anybody wants to give this kind of stuff a try, I am happy to answer questions or give material recommendations and basically just be an excited cheerleader when you show me what you've done. I will tell you one thing about this tiara, it is not all that symmetrical. To quote a crafting legend, good enough. Well, I just took a 4-hour break. This is where we are currently standing. All of the swirls are on. I am actually very happy with these. And I also think it's kind of impressive, and that you should all be proud of me, that I have gotten this far without using a single drop of glue. Now, let's cover it in glue. Or more specifically, I'm gonna start making the little flowers. I have these absolutely beautiful little opal oval shaped stones which make gorgeous little petals. I did briefly experiment with trying to wire them together into a little loop to make that closed flower kind of shape. It didn't work, not even remotely. We're going back to trusty ye old glue. After all, you know how much I love a good glue gem cluster. This time it's going to have a little upgrade. On my last crown video, someone mentioned using Play-Doh as like a support holder to press the gems into and then glue the back that way, so that way they all hold still, because when I was doing the green gems they kept falling and fidgeting and hence have dried pretty wonky. And that is just genius. I don't have Play-Doh, but I do have clay. Make this all soft and malleable, wrap it in cling film, and then we're going to use that as a little cushion support to hold the gems still whilst the glue sets. I'm actually really looking forward to trying this. I hope it works. I feel like, considering how hot it is today, this shouldn't be this hard. Exciting stuff. I learned very quickly that if you wrap the cling film too tight, then it will keep pushing the stones back out, so I had to take it off and start over. It worked far better with the cling film being loose for anyone who might want to try this. Like with my other tiaras, I used the E6000 glue to set these together, although I had to spend 10 minutes unblocking it first. Whilst the flowers set, I got to work on attaching my main 4 glass stones to the sun. I used super glue for the teardrop ones as I needed to set them instantly, and E6000 takes hours to hold anything still. I decided that super glue was my best friend for this design and used it to cover the rest of the exposed metal in the chain stones too. Good morning. Today is a very good day. I am very, very happy today. Why am I very happy today? Because I very nearly almost have a brand new tiara. She's almost done. The only things I have left to do are to add the little flowers that I made just in between these 2 swirls, and then I'm also going to wrap the base of it in a gold blonde kind of tone velvet, following the traditional tiara methods. I don't know if that's going to look good or not. The velvet I've got is actually pretty thick for this, but I'm going to give it a go and see how it turns out, because I've wanted to try doing that for a while. I also don't think it's going to be hidden in the wig at all, so I will have to restyle the wig at some point to accommodate the tiara, but for now we'll just kind of make do and ignore that a little bit. I am so excited to finish this, but I have to admit I am a little bit scared for attaching these flowers because I have yet to actually come up with an idea of how I'm doing this. I was hoping at some point inspiration would strike, but it has not, so I guess we're just gonna sit down and figure this out. But before we jump into that, I have other exciting news. Yesterday, I mentioned that someone had had a go at making Queen Victoria's tiara following my last video. They sent the pictures through and it looks amazing. It makes me so freaking happy. Caroline did a fantastic job making this, and she had a really cool idea where she made everything in like a continuous band. Like, you know when I do the glue gem cluster things? She did that, but she did it all as one band, so then you kind of peel it up as a strip and then wrap it around. That is genius. I'm gonna try that at some point. But yeah, how amazing is that? That made me really happy. On to the make. Little moment of truth. Did these work? They might not be perfect, but they are damn cute. Now to figure out how to add them. They are a little bit messy, and one is a little bit wonky. The other one's kind of perfect though, to be honest. The stones that I used for these, they were threadable stones, so if the holes haven't entirely been filled with glue, there is a chance I could still thread the bottom of these. Oh, yay. Okay, I can get through that. I should be able to wire wrap them then. Finishing up my third tiara, I'm really learning that I need some kind of system to hold them still because it's getting ridiculous. Okay, just stay still. No! Stop it. No! Getting a little flustered. Wire has attached it, but it's kind of like a loose tooth in that it wobbles back and forth, which I don't love. To solve the wobbly tooth conundrum, I used a spike of the 8mm wire to go from behind the swirl up behind the flower to hold it forward. After I wire wrapped this in place, I also glued it to the back of the flowers so they wouldn't fall forward either. For the finishing touches of the tiara, I tidied up all of the exposed wire on the back, used some nail varnish remover to clean the glue residue off the glass stones so they had maximum sparklage, and finally made a tube of gold velvet to wrap around the base. This velvet was far, far too thick for purpose, and there were injuries involved. I dropped it on the floor. It dented it a little bit, but you know, it's wire, so it's flexible, it bends right back. I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea if I actually got any decent results footage or not. I hope it was good. I'm kind of struggling to shoot this myself a little bit because 1, it's really warm in here. 2, I am laced up in these days, so movement is somewhat limited. 3, this wig keeps slipping off, and then I keep dropping the crown, which also isn't helping. Despite minor misshaping and damage from dropping it, I love this crown. Sorry, tiara. I was very nervous about trying to pull off this design. I definitely lost hope when I couldn't cut out the metal thing because that just kind of felt like the entire design hinged on that element and I wasn't going to be able to do it, but thank God the tin snip saved me. If I was to improve one thing about it, I would definitely go with 4 keystones in the center were all the same stone, and due to limitations with cutting out the metal piece, the central stone is backed onto the metal so light can't shine through it the same way it can with the top 3, which I don't love. So in an ideal world, I did originally want to put a hole in the center so the light could get through to that stone too, but the metal was just too thick to do that. I think at some point I might replace that central stone with a white stone like the opal flower ones on the sides. So that way it at least looks a bit more similar to the ones on the side. I'm gonna have to take this wig off, it's just slipping off my head. This is going to require some restyling because between mainly being in the field, to be honest, doing the crown results a little bit, it has just gotten quite messy. Like I said, I'm going to need to restyle the wig to fit the crown a little better anyway. When I actually wear it, I'll be able to hide the velvet wrap at the bottom in hair, which is what you're meant to do. I'm fairly certain you can get velvet bias tape, which if I can find the right colour, that kind of seems like an ideal solution for future crowns. Trying to use thick velvet is not only impractical and bulky, it's also kind of a health hazard because I did stab myself. Not with the pointy end of the needle, with the end of the needle that the thread goes through. I was trying to push it through the velvet and instead I pushed it through my thumb. And I've now got a spot of blood on the velvet. It's nice when you can literally say blood, sweat and tears went into a project. Overall, I am very, very pleased with this tiara and I'm very happy to add it to my collection. I am becoming increasingly aware that I need to find somewhere to actually store these because there's only so many more I can just fit stacked on my lamp. I really hope you enjoyed my attempts at a live action tiara for Rapunzel. Don't forget to check out my full dress video if you haven't already. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Feel free to leave me a comment down below and I will see you all in my next video. 1, 2, 3, warming up my voice. Good morning, good morning. I slept all night through. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Dude, I'm filming, stop sniffing. Hope you realise I have to squat in front of the camera to get those shots.